tell us more about the dyeing operations and maybe even walk us through the process of how to dye a t-shirt?
Yeah, tie dyeing is about 80% chemistry and about 20% art. So there's a lot of chemistry that goes into the process. So it starts off by doing a pH adjustment in treating the garment and getting it wet. So we get the garment wet, we change the pH, and then we wring it out into what we consider to be damp dry conditions. So that's basically when you spin the shirts out from the washing machine. When you're at home, you take the goods from your washing machine, put them in a dryer. So that's about the consistency of wetness that we like to have on our garments to assist in the tying process. So once we get the garments treated, we go into what we call our tie area. So that's when we fold the garments up into our different patterns, and then they move from the tying to the dyeing area, where we place dye on the garments. Both the tying and the dyeing is done all by hand, and we have some basic jigs that help us along with consistency. But for the most part, everything is done is handmade, and therefore no two tie dyes are exactly alike. And the combination of the way the garment is tied and the way the dye is placed onto that tied garment gives you the design. And the different designs that come out comes from those different combinations of application there. Once it goes from the dyeing department is completed, then it goes into kind of like a kiln. So we let the goods sit over a period of about 12 hours in a humidity and temperature controlled environment. Once that's complete, then we bring them out, put them into our laundry. So we have large industrial washing machines. So typically at home, you might have like a 18-pound washing machine. We have like 600-pound washing machines. So you can get about 1,000 to 1,200 shirts into one load. So that's a big difference from what you would do at home. And that's how I started, was with homemade washing machines. So I was doing like 30 shirts at a time. So now we do, 1,000 shirts at a crack. So that's a little more firepower there. So once it comes out of the laundry, well, I should say a little bit more about the laundry is we add chemistry during the laundry process, which allows the color to be set and color fast. And then we also remove any additional unadhered dye that is not bonded to the garment, and that is removed during that process as well. So the shirts are then dried and then moved into what we consider our quality assurance area. Quality assurance looks for color consistency, pattern consistency, and then also any garment defects, holes or variations that may occur within the garment. So we generally try to keep our spoilage down to a relatively small percentage, under 2% is our goal. Some days we manage to do that, and some days we don't. So that's kind of part of the process, and getting consistency is always a bit of a battle.
What happens to those garments who maybe fail the quality control review?
Yeah, well, there's a market for everything. So there's discounters that we sell this stuff to that will buy what we call factory seconds, and then it goes through a channel where they sell the garments off at discounted pricing. So everything has a home. It's just the first quality garments go to main distribution, and then second quality garments go to a secondary distribution channel. But for the most part, everything has a home. And if the garment is really destroyed for some error in production, then they get turned into rags, and we use them here for internal use of some degree. But that is a very, very, very rare occurrence. So that's not something we're doing on a regular basis.
You need rags to clean too. I get it.
That is correct.
How do you guys go about sourcing your products as far as like choosing the right fibers and dyes that will take for your specific products?
Okay. Generally speaking, all of our product is that's dyed here is dyed at 100% cotton. We do use blends. However, the blend fabric, man-made fabric, does not adhere to the dye, so you get a little bit softer look. that is fairly popular, especially right now with we see a lot more pastels and predominantly white with a little bit of color type patterns being popular. So that actually helps us out. When I started, that was not popular. It was like how much getting 100% color on the garment was preferred. So, but we use we use garments that are 100% cotton for the most part, and we're typically are sourcing those from major mills like Fruit of the Loom and Hanes and Gildan. That's our main suppliers, and then we do source custom or private label goods from factories overseas.
Can you tell us a little bit more about, how, you run into maybe process or regulations that you have to deal with along the way, maybe more specifically about like how you treat your water and clean it? Because I know that the dyeing process can be pretty harsh on the environment. So what does the company do to keep that under control?
Okay, so in testing, product testing, we have our products tested, and we're all compliant with the Consumer Safety Product Association. So that's part of it. We're also compliant with California Prop 65, which is basically dealing with heavy metals. And then we also do flammability testing, along with fabric testing at different strengths, wet crock testing. What else we have? Color fast, wash fast, all those types of testing. So we go through all those processes to make sure we're doing a quality garment, putting out a quality garment. But then there's also the wastewater, as you're alluding to. For the most part, our chemistry is relatively mild, so all of our chemistry is allowed to go down through the municipal sewer, and they treat it from there. We do a little bit of treating in-house, but for the most part, it's handled by the municipality.
And I can imagine that you have a lot of, people, a lot of employees, a lot of managers watching all these different processes. Can you tell us more about what that infrastructure looks like, and, where maybe quality managers work in different areas of the business?
Yeah, sure. So we have roughly 200 employees. About a quarter of those are front office staff. 75% of those employees are actually involved in direct production or production management. So in every area that I mentioned earlier, so that's the laundry, the tying, the dyeing, the QC. In addition to that, we have warehousing, shipping, and receiving, and each one of those departments has a manager or a team lead that's in charge of their particular area. And then that rolls up to a manager, and then we have a head of operations here. So that's kind of the infrastructure that we have in place from a management standpoint. But everybody is responsible for making sure that they're putting out a quality product. And so that it really starts with the frontline worker, making sure that they're well trained and are familiar with the quality that we expect and our customers expect.
So who makes the decisions as far as what kind of dyes actually get placed on your products?
Okay, so we have a team of folks here that do that, and that consists of our colorist, our product manager, merchandiser, and then I get involved at some level. Those folks are going out and doing market research, looking at what colors are trending, and coming back and developing styles that kind of incorporate current trends and current color forecasts.
That sounds like a fun job.
It can be fun, and it can also be somewhat challenging at time to time. But the folks that we have here have been with us for quite some time, and they tend to enjoy it quite a bit.
That sort of leads me into my next question, as far as, what are some of those kind of best sellers or key types of dyeing techniques? What's really popular these days?
So the traditional rainbow colored tie dye is kind of rules the roost. That's the most popular garment that we have. But the colors of that particular type of look have kind of changed in popularity over time. Like I said, they were very saturated colors when I first got into the business. the pastels and kind of lightly saturated colors tend to be the preferred look today. Then there's also, we do a lot of business in teams, so collegiate and high school. So the team and collegiate colors are our traditional sellers. They sell the same thing year in and year out. Those tend to stay very stable. But the trends kind of roll through in the multicolor looks, and they about 8 years ago, neons were very popular, so we were doing a lot of neons. We do very little neons currently, but that kind of gives you an idea of how the outside world, trending world, I guess, of retail and products affect us. So it's just the saturation of color is essentially what changes, not so much the overall techniques.
How did those customers find you?
Well, through various channels. For the most part, we were found by promoting ourselves through the marketing, through email and social media and that sort of things. We also have our website, which has gone through various iterations over the years. So that's one way of attracting customers. And then we have an inside sales staff that handles searching for customers and managing day-to-day business. So it's a wide gamut of sales and marketing. So that's kind of the overview of what that looks like.